Today we're actually going to talk about one of the most important and most crucial thing or most crucial category in this whole crypto ecosystem or the Web3 ecosystem, I must say. And I think that most of the people are actually not talking much about quantum computers or quantum resistant tech specifically. Most of the people are actually talking about quantum computers, but they are not talking about the safety and limitations upon the quantum computers. Now, let me tell you one thing. I don't want to be a pessimist. I'm completely with quantum computers. I'm not against quantum computers. I'm not against AI, or I'm not against this new deep reasoning models and all. I'm completely with them, because with advantages there are a lot of disadvantages that come. And if you want to overcome the disadvantages, it is simple. We need to develop such technologies that can basically apply these safety and limitation structures on these new technologies that are being developed. And one of those technologies are actually the quantum resistant technologies, which basically can't operate without a blockchain. So there always has to be a ledger involved, there always have to be a blockchain involved. That it is actually a very new and a very small category, and right now most of the updates are actually being rolled out. So the coins that are like basically Solana or Bitcoin or Ethereum can actually basically have quantum resistant tech built in the blockchain, and that will be a very crucial thing. They have to do this basically because most of the people only have theories around quantum computers. As you can see, I can just show you the quantum doomsday clock. I don't know where it went. Let me just refresh it. Yes, so as you can see here that this is just a theory. This is just a prediction that the quantum computers will be able to steal all of your data, all of your private keys, and basically everything. It will be able to just configure everything, decrypt everything, and basically just steal it within just almost like 2.5 years. This is just a prediction. This is just a theory. Most of the people who are even developing quantum computers, they themselves don't know what quantum computers will have to offer. But firstly, you have to basically know what quantum computers really have to offer in theory, and on the other hand, you have to know what is the difference between a quantum computer and a normal computer, basically a supercomputer. So a supercomputer basically uses the classical bit system, which is the zeros and ones. So we do control what the computer think is true or false. So the zero, I think, means that it is false, and the one, I think, it means that it is true. So this is the most traditionally used system, and right now nobody is really using quantum computers in their home, but soon these type of computers will be able to basically be accessible to everybody. As Jensen Huang actually said in Joe Rogan's new podcast, that everybody in their home will have a nuclear reactor. Everybody in their home will have an energy production system, and we can see that applying. Like most of the people have electric chargers in their home right now, which can charge their own cars. Most of the people have solar panels, windmills in their home right now. They are not operating on traditional centralized electricity. Electricity is also being decentralized in a way. So everything is going to be decentralized. Even your politics, that is going to be very decentralized as well. And I think that future is very bright, unless and until we just face some very 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 bad war or some very bad natural disaster or something like that. Anyways, the difference between a supercomputer or a quantum computer is as such. As you can see, supercomputer only operates in classical bits, zeros and one, whereas a quantum computer operates in a quantum bits, which is known as qubits. So it can exist in multiple states. Philosophically speaking, most of the people who are operating quantum computers right now, like if you can see this new Willow chip, which was the quantum computing chip, which operated on only 105 qubits. That's a very low amount of qubits for the quantum computers we are actually projecting towards. It calculated an equation which, if you used the fastest supercomputer on earth, it would take them almost 10 septillion years, and it calculated that equation in just 5 minutes. It actually led to a very philosophical answer by Google engineers, because they said that that quantum computer must have calculated all of these equations in multi dimensions, in multiple universes, because they themselves didn't knew how a quantum computer can basically solve such an equation, which would take 10 septillion years for the fastest supercomputers to basically solve. So again, most of these new AI companies, or most of these people who are basically just pushing the human race forward, most of the people who are pushing towards the future, it can be biotech, bioscience, AI, fintech, anything, right? Most of these people are becoming very philosophical. They are not that technical. They don't know how to code good. They don't know how these data sets work and all. But what they do know is basic human psychology and philosophy. And I think that that is what is making them think that they can bring their fantasies into real life. And that is actually very beautiful, because if you want to think in a very crazily non-fictional way, or if you want to bring your fantasies into real life, you have to think that way, that everything is possible. You have to think very differently, and that is what these new computer scientists are basically doing. These are Albert Einstein of our present, I would say. These people should be valued, because they are developing technologies that will help us cure cancer, that are not just for the sake of capitalism, but they are genuinely doing things that will give more advantages than disadvantages. And disadvantages of any tech company is mostly decentralized, and it is completely dependent upon the people, because there are bad people that exist in the world, there are good people that exist as well. So talk about the real deal, but before talking about that, I actually want to tell you something, and that is that there is no such thing as randomness in the world, or in the world of computers, or in the world of bits. There is no such thing as random number generator, because a computer can always predict what's going to come next. So when there is prediction that exists, which is theoretically 100% right, then there is no such thing as random number generator. So if we talk about Bitcoin actually operates on elliptic curve cryptography with a 256-bit key system. So what this bit key system actually does is it randomizes different numbers, different encrypted numbers, and then it basically gives you a private key, which is very easy to break even using a normal computer. But again, that is not feasible at all, because it is going to take them billions of years just to break a private wallet. So it is not feasible for them, so they don't basically use it. But if we can apply more energy towards the computer, and if we can use different alternatives like quantum computers, then we can easily break into Bitcoin's hash algorithm, or Bitcoin's private key system, or we can even centralize Bitcoin's whole structure as well using quantum computers. That is very easy to do. Again, for normal computers, it will practically take them billions of years. So it is practically unbreakable, but again, as a fact, it's breakable. It is going to take them billions of years, but as I told you all, that there is no such thing as random number generators. So a normal computer can break Bitcoin's technology, or Bitcoin's encryption technology behind the private wallets and all. Now, how does Bitcoin uses this technology? So when we actually create a wallet, it generates a ECC 256 private key, and from that it derives a public key using elliptic curve cryptography maths. The public key is hashed to create the Bitcoin public address. So when you spend the Bitcoin, you sign a transaction with a private key using ECDSA. So this is the algorithm behind the elliptic curve cryptography system, and this is actually known as elliptic curve digital signature algorithm. I don't know much about it, to be very honest. Anyways, if we talk about the quantum threat here, that is that if it is possible for us to develop a quantum computer which will have 1673 logical qubits. Now we are talking about logical qubits here, we are not talking about physical qubits. In Willow there were physical qubits that were used, not logical qubits. Anyways, if we can develop such quantum computers with 1673 logical qubits, and if we can use Shor's algorithm with it, it can basically predict our private key and break in towards the whole system. Everything on the internet, on the dark web, or on the deep web is encrypted in a way which can be basically be broken. So even if we talk about any secure amount of data, it is even the biggest threat towards the governments. But I think that the majority of the militaries or governments already have figured out a quantum resistant system where they can actually hide their data, or keep their data, or decentralize their data in a way that it cannot be easily traceable or cannot be easily breakable. Anyways, now talking about what Vitalik Buterin has to say about the 20% quantum threat. So he says that there is actually a 20% of chance that the quantum computers can basically break the current cryptography before 2030. This is the founder of Ethereum, but according to his recent tweets, it is much likely towards 50%, because I think that he's discovering more and more possibilities. He's a very nerdy guy, he's a very intelligent blockchain dev. He's probably one of those few people who have generally established a business, and he knows each and everything about blockchains as well. So you have to trust and you have to believe this guy. But again, I think that the 20% chance rate is actually increasing towards 50-60%, because recently IBM CTO actually said that quantum computers can take over till 2028, not 2030, 2028, and it can be much faster than your normal expectations as well. So yes, it is such a weird era to live in, but again, there is just so much optimism towards the future as well. At the same time, you kind of want to be very pessimist if you just live your whole life in, on social media as well. So yes, like most of the people themselves don't know what's really going to happen. So how can I know, or how can you know? We can just predict, or we can just create theories off of nothing, because the world or the time is actually moving so exponentially. It is not moving linearly, it is moving so exponentially that most of the people will be left behind because they wanted to be left behind. And I don't want that to happen to you guys. I don't want to that to basically happen to myself as well. Anyways, there are actually new standards that are being coming out daily. NIST standards of quantum resistant technology, how they can basically implement different structures to basically limit the way quantum computers are used, or to implement different safety structures as well. Anyways, what I will actually recommend to all of you is to go ahead, search quantum resistant coins on CoinMarketCap or on CoinGecko, or on different OTC platforms as well as decentralized exchanges, or on DexScreener or on DexTools, and search each and every one of these quantum resistant coins, because there is guaranteed one quantum resistant coin that is going to give you 1000x, at least 1000x. That is something which is very less. It is going to give you, it is obvious right now. I have bought every of these coin in existence, including Zcash, the coin that I hate the most. I have bought Starknet as well. I have bought a billion as well. So I have bought all of these coins, because if only one can basically work out, that is going to basically 1000x my portfolio. That is going to be very good luck for me. And I've did some research on it, but I just can't find a lot of time to do a lot of research on it. That is something that I will recommend that all of you should do. And you should then post your research in my Telegram group, or you should then post your research or tag me on Twitter, so I can repost your research as well. Anyways, I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and if you would actually like to see more of these videos, do let me know in the comments below. Thank you.